Hey everybody, I want to welcome you. My name's Dr. Cordy Williams, Health from Within Family Wellness Center, and this is your 18th health hack. And what we're going to be talking about today is what you didn't know about Yelp. Your health and Yelp, and how your health is negatively impacted by these online review sites, and really how it impacts the health of your community, and how it prevents the mission from going forward for us to change and save lives. Why am I bringing this up? Because there's all these online review sites, right? And you see all the time, and you know, in the past I've been guilty of it, where I'll go on a review site and it may say something, and the more I read the review site, I start realizing, you know, how many people had a bad day when they decided to put their cute little fingertips, right, on a mouse pad or on a keyboard. And I start thinking about it, how all our perceptual realities are formed, and I've talked about this in past health hacks, by our wounds, right? Our wounds and our environment shape who we are today, but some of us, we kind of get stuck in that, you know, one finger out, three fingers back type of thing, right? Where we're blaming other people for where we are, or where, you know, where we're not able to go that really we want to be with our life, and where our life is and what we haven't accomplished. And it's funny how all that stuff tends to add up, and it creates different realities for people. So it can create literally one person or two people or 10 people can walk into the same restaurant on the same night and have 10 totally different experiences. You know, so I'll see review sites and they, you know, have anywhere from a 3.5 or a 4.4, maybe even lower than that. And you see what people are complaining about, and it could be the Ritz-Carlton, or, you know, it could be a restaurant that I went to all the time. And I'm like, that's not true about that restaurant. You like, one of the favorite places that I have in North County that I like to go to, and some of you that know me know this, is called Campfire. It's like 5 minutes from my office. We're there like 4 times a week. And I posted a positive review probably, I don't know, 3 months ago or 6 months ago, because I had seen they had some Yelp thing up, or something happened or whatever. I was just trying to get perspective about this whole Yelp, Facebook review, online site review type of thing. And you know, they had some negative reviews. And I started reading the negative reviews, and people were complaining on a Friday and Saturday night, the busiest time, that it took them a little bit longer to get their drink, or for this to happen, or that one time they went there and, you know, this food was done this way, or this was done that way, or whatever, right? Well, I go to Campfire all the time. Like, I'm there 4 times a week. And I can tell you, in thousands of times of being there, maybe I've had even remotely what I would characterize, maybe the experience was 2% below like amazing, terrific, and change your life spectacular. And it was like 98% less than perfect. But a lot of people will take that experience because of their past wounds, because of their filter, and they'll go and write some heinous like review online about their experience. But it's their experience through their filter and through their wounds. And we kind of see this on a lot of, like, you know, different group kind of text that you might get into, or online group messaging, or comments that people make on Facebook. And people are just spewing like really hatred, and they're spewing like negativity, and they're spewing things that don't bring people into a love vibration, that don't bring people into a compassion vibration, and that certainly don't help effectuate change in our society and really help people grow and get healthy in every way. And so I really felt inspired the last 2 weeks to bring this video to you. Because, you know, I've had a lot of patients in my office come up to me at different times. Maybe it's existing patients, past patients, current patients, and they've been, you know, doc, you know, Yelp and Facebook, they're like really interesting for you. You know, on Facebook you have, you know, a 4 whatever, and on Yelp you have a 3 whatever. And, you know, I saw this negative stuff where they're saying all these negative things about you and your family. And, you know, is it true? And what I always say is, I say to people, I'll say, well, it's true for their filter. They had a negative experience. That person had a negative experience. Well, why is that, doc? I don't understand. Well, through their filter and their past wounds, I wanted them to get healthy more than they wanted themselves to get healthy. Because of all the stuff they have going on, right? And the pain that's inside of them, no matter what anybody would have done, they're just, I guess, not ready to get better, or don't know that they can get better, or don't know when somebody really cares about them. And, it's amazing what people will write down. And what I always tell people when they come to me, and some people come in and they're walking in for the first time and they mention it, or some people on the phone, they'll cancel their appointment because of that. And what I always tell people is, well, to really get a body of work about what's really happening in any practice, and I always find it interesting, this goes on mostly in the holistic field. You don't see it at all in the medical field. I mean, I'll hear the Yelp reviews in my office, right? Which the Yelp review is the patient blasting the doctor out. And I always try to give the doctor the benefit of the doubt, even in the medical cases. But what I see more than not is, it's not that somebody had a bad experience, or, they wanted them to, bring their spouse to an important appointment for their results so they could get their results. Or it's not even a thing where, maybe they used up all their visits or gotten all their care, and then they wanted a refund, kind of like going to a restaurant and you run up a tab and then you ate all the food and you're like, forget what I ate. I still want my money back. It doesn't really work that way, right? We're not talking about those stories from a medical standpoint. Stories we're talking about, folks, is stories where people are going in for a surgery and they're taking out extra stuff. They're putting them on 10 medications without even an explanation. They're calling them stupid. They're screaming at them. They're bringing them back in for surgeries they didn't need. Right? I heard the other day somebody told me about a malpractice situation that occurred where she had gone into a doctor, this particular lady, and they had neglected to take a film on her. And she had a fracture and was exhibiting signs of a fracture, and they never took an x-ray on her at all. And the medical doctor said everything was fine. She went on her way, right? Found out later through a holistic chiropractor that it was in fact a fracture, right? They sent her to another medical doctor, and then they started to cast her and treat her appropriately and things of that nature. If that person was a holistic doctor, I mean, you can bet they would have been ran up the flagpole. They would have been ran up the flagpole with the board, probably would have been sued, probably would have gotten 5,000, Yelp reviews saying they, sacrificed goats and were a sadist worshiper and, hated people and all that stuff. I mean, seriously, that's the type of stuff that we see. And I heard another story, it's not coming to my mind right now, last week, of another medical mishap. So how come in the medical world, how come we're not doing a medical Yelp review? How come we're not doing a medical Facebook review? And the answer invariably to that question is, one, because we respect the medical community. That's why. We respect the medical community. And it's so interesting that we don't ask ourselves questions. This morning I had an Uber driver, right? And the car was a little, not so clean, right? And that bothered me a little bit. And there was a certain stench to it, so it was not so clean stench. And he got lost and it took a little bit longer. But he was the sweetest guy in the world. He loved what he did. He loved helping people. I saw his passion and I got to talk to him. His name was Les. And I got to know Les, and I got to connect with him. And I saw past that. You think I'm going to not tip him or give him a 1-star review because of my filter and my past wounds? My past wounds with maybe the way something smells or how clean it is or whether someone can follow directions or anything like that? I'm not going to do that. That was a great ride. I got to bond with him. We were talking about country music. I mean, it was great. We were talking about George Strait and all sorts of stuff. It was awesome. Awesome experience. But I could have given him a bad review. I could have not tipped him. And what would that have been because of? It wouldn't have been because of really anything necessarily he did. He had a bad day. He had a bad day. Maybe he didn't have time to clean out his car. And I found out that he was from Escondido. So he doesn't know the ins and outs of this area. He normally Uber drives in Escondido. Happened to be coming back and did me a courtesy by picking me up. Maybe the courtesy he did me and being late and all that prevented us from having a wreck. You never know, right? So I wanted to read this little quote to you before I read off a couple of things from the do not recommended Yelp reviews that we have out there. Yeah, there's do not recommended Yelp reviews. I know that's crazy. You're like, what is that? I don't even understand that. So like what we find is most of the time when we get a positive 5-star review or 4-star review, they actually take the review and they put it, they have, you know how like when I'm trying to remember his name, not Johnny Carson, but, oh gosh, McMahon, I'm trying to remember his name. You guys know, the multi-million-dollar publisher clearinghouse guy, right? That guy. I don't remember his name. Somebody will think of it later on, probably. You guys are probably saying it right now. But the guy that did the publisher clearinghouse deal, not the guy that's doing them now, but the guy that used to do them, whatever his name is, McMahon we'll call him. McMahon would like come up and they would do the publisher clearinghouse thing, you know, and they would tell you that you won and all that, right? And they would do the commercials about how people won. And then they have that fine print, right? And it's like so small, you need like a magnifying glass or like an electron microscope to even see it. Well, that's the small little writing that they put this do not recommended section in. And so there's all these 5-star reviews. Had somebody post one the other day, stays up for 2 days, then goes into the do not recommended pile. So I just thought to keep things fair, to keep things really even, to keep things transparent and be transparent, I'm not going to be defensive about what is true and what's not true, because that's somebody's filter. So it's their truth for them. But in order for us to get a full body of work, we have to look at the entirety of the body of the work. Not just when somebody had a bad day and decided to spew. So I'm going to read you off some of these patient experiences, and we might go over today, but I think it's important. So here's the quote before I read them. I got off track. I got to trying to figure out this McMahon guy's name. I know you guys are saying it right now, though. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I heard from one person that that's a scripture. Heard from another person it's just an old wise tale, right? But how powerful is that? God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I can change, or I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I definitely know I need to practice that in my own life, but we all need to practice that when we're judging people around us and judging what they're doing, and especially judging businesses. Because you don't know how far-reaching what you think, say, or do, and what an impact that can have on affecting the lives of millions of people. So when people spew venom, it gets in the way, as holistic doctors, of us being able to really change people's lives and transform this community. It gets in the way of that child that maybe the mother didn't want to do a C-section. Maybe she didn't want to give her child the flu vaccine. Maybe she would have tried something different or not tried drugs and antibiotics that destroy the gut flora and the microbiome and destroy the good bacteria. But they'll never be given that opportunity if we walk into that restaurant and on a Friday night, we evaluate it on one experience. So I'm going to go and read these quotes to you. My mom and I have been going to Health From Within for over a year, and I can honestly say I've never met two doctors more engaging, patient, and involved than Doctors Tanya and Cordy Williams. They have been so supportive in our health goals, and not only helping us, but educating us on the ways to improve our own health. I'm definitely a fan, and I invite all my friends and family to check them out. Prior to moving, this is another one. Prior to moving to California and finding my new healthcare hub at the Holistic Chiropractic Health Center of Health From Within, I would have begun this story by telling you about my many health problems and a long, painful journey with my mother who battled disease her whole life. My life has been marked by disease from the beginning. Doctors Cordy and Tanya Williams have helped me in many ways I never realized I needed help. Did you know that your body keeps record of all past emotions? What if I told you that your health is affected by those emotions continually until they are resolved? Well, it's true. Using the neuro-emotional technique, NET, the docs have been able to identify hidden causes of symptoms and to release emotional blocks, some of which have been there from birth. During the weeks and months following the death of my mother, their care provided me needed relief and support. Just think about how a blockage can build up over time and cause long-term health challenges. The HFW team has proven to be more like a family rallying support when I need it, providing a safe haven for healing. and emotional stabilization. I have benefited in so many ways. The following are a few major wins on my record. Past conditions requiring medical treatment have since stabilized and now require no medications, to include multiple sclerosis, hypertension, diabetes mellitus type 2, cholesterol, severe stress and anxiety, chronic sinusitis, menstrual discomfort, frequent urinary tract infection, lower back pain, frequent digestive symptoms, and insomnia. Digestive symptoms, excuse me. Are you ready to say goodbye to medications, both prescribed and over the counter? I didn't write this. This is all from a patient. Her name's Jennifer. I found natural healing to be effective and beneficial. You can trust the Health from Within team to guide you on your journey, and results like mine can be yours. Yes, healing the natural way can take time or may take time. I have marched forward on my health and healing journey for more than a decade, and Rome was not built in a day. What better investment of time and resources can you make? You will be as grateful as I am when you decide to invest in yourself. You will find success if you go all in with Health from Within. The testimonial before this was Brandy. And this is the testimonial from Candace. Since childhood, I've had UTIs regularly. As I grew older, they came more frequent. At one point, I was taking daily antibiotics until I eventually became immune to them and even developed an allergy to another. In the last few years, I've taken antibiotics as needed. Sometimes they work and sometimes they didn't. My mother suffered from UTIs as well, and that infection ultimately led to her death because her body couldn't fight it. That became a great fear of mine. Since coming to Health from Within, I have not had a single infection in over 3 months. I'm so glad I've come to HFW. And what she doesn't say in here, she said with me, or told me in the office, that she had experienced those UTIs for like 15 or 20 years. This is another one. The staff at Health from Within is wonderful. They're always very nice and welcoming. It was a little weird at first getting used to giving everyone hugs, but I enjoy it now. They're always willing to work with you. Make sure you get to your appointments. I've had to adjust my schedule several times. They were always accommodating. The office is always clean and comfortable. I've had back issues as well as many other issues, but my main concern was my back. I sprained it 8 years ago while serving in the Marine Corps. For years now, I've been taking non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, which is basically like your Tylenols, your Advils, your ibuprofens, your Excedrins, all that, and muscle relaxers to help cope with the pain and inflammation. I've been coming here for 3 months now, and my back has felt a lot better. I haven't taken any of my pills for the entire time. I've also stopped taking the Ambien for sleep. I look forward to the continued progress and healing I've experienced since coming here. I highly recommend coming to Health from Within. There's a lady named Alice that follows Kelly, Donna, Ken Patterson, Crystal, Ryan Bennett, Jen, Rebecca T. This is 3 pages of reviews, right, that weren't posted. And they're all 5-star reviews. So I just thought it was important to really set the record straight. There was one months ago. Let me see if it's here. Yep, here it is right here. And this is about seizures and her little boy, I believe. I want to read this one to you, and then we're going to be done. I could read all of them to you, but I don't want to take up everybody's time. My whole family and I have been seeing Dr. Cordy and Dr. Tanya for just 9 months. The entire staff is extremely friendly and helpful. The moment you walk in the door, you feel like family. I began care with little to no physical pain, just discomforts. Of course, my x-rays and scans showed many concerns and dysfunction in my body. Because of these findings, I was aware of the work that needed to be done physically. But what I later found out that there was also a serious amount of emotional healing that needed to happen as well. Negative emotions like anger, resentment, fear, as well as feelings of not being good enough. And others were manifesting into digestive issues, acne, restless legs, a hyperbladder, and migraines. Though I am still having some of these issues, they have improved and have become less persistent as I continue to learn how to move through and heal from those emotions. I am not only learning about my body on a physical level and how to heal it naturally, but also there are emotional and chemical components as well. I do not see a traditional doctor and no longer take any over-the-counter medications. Dr. Cordy and Dr. Tana have become my primary health care providers, and it was the best decision I could have made to begin care with them. I can't find the one. There's one about seizures in here, and I thought I was about to read it, but that was a different lady. Her name's Crystal. But the one about seizures talks about how every night the mother had prayed over her young son and prayed that her son would not die, because seizures kill people. And what this one says, and it's either on the Yelp review or the do not recommend it or the Dr. Cordy just can't find list, right? And what it talks about is how when she started coming here in a very short period of time, the seizures after years of having them totally resolved. And she was able to sleep soundly at night, knowing her little boy and her life and her joy, right, was able to express life through his nervous system, above, down, inside, and out. So I thought it was important for you, for me to share this with you today. And I want you to share this with other people. Like it, send it through email, all that. The doubters, the naysayers, I'm probably going to put it on the front page of my website, because I think it's important for people to know why we got into this. I got into this because I lost 4 grandparents to cancer. My wife got into it because she lost her dad 10 years ago. I got into this because for 12 years I was on 3 different medications, and these medications were crippling me. I was depressed and anxious, and the side effects of the medications, called Wellbutrin, the last one I was on, almost doggone killed me. Because what happened is I started having suicidal ideations, threatening to kill myself for a 5-day time period. I was having convulsions, seizures, throwing up, all sorts of stuff. So guys, this is real. This is real. There are people's lives that are at stake here, and we need to do our part in the mission, not only to share the message, but to get the message out about online reviews that are crushing missions and really honestly destroying the fabric of our society. Because it's, from a health perspective, it's not giving people the opportunity that they deserve through their creator to explore different options. And what I would challenge all the online review sites out there to do is, let's create a review site for the medical paradigm, and let's create a review site for the pharmaceutical paradigm, so we can start evaluating them and seeing what their track record is, positive and negative. Let's just be transparent and objective, right? That's what we should be. So God bless you guys. I appreciate you tuning in. Share this video with people. Like this video. I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving. And I hope some of this uplifted you today, but I also hope that it gave you a minute of pause to think about what you're doing or what you're not doing in your own life. God bless you. Happy Thanksgiving. See you next week. Take care.